This is Steve Schiffman. I want to thank you very much for joining me today on this podcast that I think you're going to find extremely beneficial. You know, we do a podcast and webcast virtually every single day to help you as a salesperson be more effective, and you as a manager be more effective with your sales representatives. I think we ignore the fact that managers also need help. Well, we'll leave that alone for now. I want to talk to you today about finding the decision maker. You know, if there's nothing else that I hear virtually every day from sales representatives is I met with the DM, the decision maker, the person who could make the decision. That's who I met with. That's who I wanted to meet with. And sometimes when I'm coaching, I'll say, well, how did you know this was the right person? How did that come up? Usually the answer is, well, they told me. That's the answer that they say, well, they told me. They told me they're the right person. And I say to them, really, that's kind of interesting. And then I point this out, and I want to ask you the same question. When was the last time you bought anything besides chicken, anything where you actually had the decision by yourself? When you bought your car, did you make that decision by yourself? When you bought your house, did you make that decision by yourself? When you bought your bicycle, did you make that decision by yourself? When you painted the house, did you make that decision by yourself? Or did somebody else participate in that decision? Well, you know the answer, and I know the answer. Very few people actually make the total decision. Usually decisions are made not by committee, but by other people that surround us. You and I both, when we know we do this, when we get dressed, we say, well, how do I look? How's the tie look? How's the vest? We ask those questions. We do that all the time. Now, do you think that the president of a company, CEO of a company, CIO of a company, doesn't do that also? Now, I'm not saying that person goes to his or her significant other. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is every single person that we'll talk to in sales has somebody that they go to, somebody that they speak to also, just to bounce it off, to get a feeling for it. But we don't know who that person is. We don't know who that committee is. And it may not even be a committee. It's just somebody else. It's somebody else that they talk to. They don't sit there in an isolated little booth saying, should I do this or not? A decision is really based on everything being right. Right person, right product and service, right timetable, and the right price. Now I'll get into that another time. But what I'm saying to you is sometimes the person that you're talking to appears to be the right person, but you're not factoring in that they're going to speak to somebody else. And you can't just ask that question because you know what? They may not know. They may be going to John down the hall or Joan upstairs forever asking them, what do you think? What do you think? And they don't even think about it. They don't think about them being the decision maker. They just know that they go to somebody else, kind of in the back of their mind. So if you would say to them, by the way, who else is involved in this decision, which is something that you do say, they really don't know. They'll say, well, it's me. And you know what? It is them. It depends on how they present it to Joan or Jill or Jack. It depends on how they present it. They can say, hey, I want to do this. That would be one thing. Or they can say, well, what do you think? Be another way. So give some thought to who else the person goes to. You may not be able to get around that, and you may not be able to deal with it, but it's a factor that goes into every decision-making process in every company, everywhere, no matter what you do, no matter what you sell. Today, we're offering an incentive for you to write to us. If you write to us with the word pen, this is a pen, if you write to us with the word pen in an email, I'll send you one of our books. We're going to send out more books more often. So if you send the word pen to me in an email, which you can get off the web, or you go to my website, I'll send you a book. And the book we're going to send out is The Big Bang, which I still think is my favorite book. All right, so this is Steve Schiffman. I want to thank you very much for joining me today. And as always, you humble me by your presence.